water has always been a constraint to development. Now, irrigation, 3.7% of arable land in SSA is irrigated. Now, this kind of analysis tells you water is as important as labor, as any other resource. And more importantly, if you look at the sustainable development goals in sub-Saharan Africa, if you go in one by one of these goals, you can't attain any one of them without accessibility of water. So it means if we manage to talk and discuss about, some solutions to the water problems, we might resolve a large, predicaments or problems in the African continent. Agriculture accounts for more than 1/3 of GDP in this region. 60% of economically active population works in agricultural sector, and Africa is the only continent where the growth in food production is less than the growth in population. This is the continent that is currently facing huge food insecurity. In Africa, which is already stressed, annual rainfall is likely to decrease in much of Mediterranean Africa and the Southern Africa. Flood, water use and drought, and coastal degradation are the things that we are expecting for Africa. The debate is whether our agricultural product can sustain the current warming temperature. All evidence tells you there is going to be a decline in yield. Farmers are expected to find huge problem because the probability of crop failure is high at any year. So we start getting some pattern here. Southern Africa, climate change is going to impact on this region as well. Water has always been a problem in this region. But if there is a decline in yield, the farmer can shift to another crop. The shift has already been made. They have already done the adjustment. And again, we have minus. Rain is low. And at the same time, farmers do not have the required expertise to increase their yield. Neither the expertise nor the relevant input like fertilizer. All of these regions here, we have water scarcity, but it is classified as economic scarcity. It doesn't mean there is no water. The water management or the economic structure that makes water scarce. So the key message is climate is going to impact hugely on agriculture and water, which eventually will decrease. So what are the consequences? The first consequences perhaps in the SSA, in the sub-Saharan Africa, is conflict, which means cooperation and regional integration, etc., is something that is also on the table. But what is more important here, if there is a change in yield, food prices are going to go up, and we are going to face inflation. What are the solutions? So adoption of variety and different species of crop, modification of crop calendars, improve water management, improve food storage system, establishing regional production centers in food staples, at the same time more emphasis on early warning or demand management. Water infrastructure, all of them the infrastructure is not in good state. Some people are proposing water inventories and water accounts. Water inventories means scientific analysis to know where is the water, what is the water flow. But then perhaps the most important solution, which I'm coming here, is financing. In rural, usually villagers do not have the capability to pay tariff, etc. So the financing mode of rural usually comes from the World Bank, from external sources. For urban water investment, it usually comes from some financing, well-defined financing. But then we scarcely have concentrated on constructing reservoir and dam, etc. Now, what happens if you are paying only for distribution? So you get distribution to your place, but we are not paying for treatment, we are not paying for storage. So we concentrate water tariff especially on distribution system, and we don't take into account that these expenditure, depreciation, capital investment is as important. In Mauritius, we ask how much, a study conducted, how much would you be willing to pay to get water on 24 hours basis and with high pressure. So you see, this is the response of 400 respondents that we've conducted in Mauritius. On average, someone would wish to pay 50 rupee more to get that kind of service, enough to resolve the problem of water. We need money, whether it comes from our pocket, whether it is come from taxpayers' money. If we can't raise it directly, then we have got privatization. We have basically three different types of privatization: service, concession, lease, and management. The service one is the easiest one. It is just contracting out someone to repair meters. In concession, the private operator do the investment as well. You are giving the whole responsibility to the private operator to operate the water sector. Lease means the private operator has the responsibility to upgrade the existing infrastructure. For lease, the private operator charges the population and then he gives an amount of money to the government. For affermage, the government already negotiated a price per water and then he gives that money to the private operator. So the private operator now gets the revenue and then he manages the whole infrastructure. And then management contract, the private operator manages the operation but is not responsible for any investment. Government retains responsibility for investment and expansion.
We know for sure that, for example, in Bolivia there has been a lot of social uprising, resistance against water privatization. I think that the question of privatization versus commons is crucial today, because who controls what and who has the right to say that who will get access to what or not.
Even in Mauritius we are facing it. We are not a water scarcity region. We do have water. The simple thing is we have not predicted or even have sufficient funds to be invested in the water storage and treatment sector. And if we had the fund, how do we use the fund when we have so many people, actors, honest and dishonest in the play? So if we cannot ensure this, then the next one would be privatization. It might be a palatable measure for some time, but as we have seen in all of these countries that I have reviewed, they came back to the government.
I mean, the logic for privatization is that private firms will be more efficient. They are profit-driven. They don't have to get involved in politics. They can manage resources much more efficiently. But I don't see this happening in Mauritius, because even if it is private, politics is going to be involved. The solution is to get rid of the wastage of water that we are having at the moment. Why privatization? The government should find ways of looking for funds on its own, because if you get funds from the private sector, you pay for the funds.